I would say overall, our biggest value to the customer with Precast is being able to shrink their timelines down, not having to pour that stuff in place, wait for it for, 24 to 36 hours before they can go to the next step. You can do your excavation. We can come in, dump our Precast down. They can backfill it and move on to the next step immediately. So as long as the construction schedules are held to and our products are there on time, we can accelerate any kind of, usually most construction projects, we can accelerate it by several weeks by just using a precast concrete instead of a cast in place option.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by Write For Me, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Daniel Murray, President and CEO at Roman Stone. Daniel, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Andrew?
I'm pretty good, thank you. Appreciate you spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a bit about yourself and about Roman Stone.
Sure. My name is Daniel Murray. As mentioned, I'm president of Roman Stone. Roman Stone is a precast manufacturer. We manufacture underground infrastructure and above ground infrastructure out of precast concrete. We've been in business here since 1903. So I think it's 125 years. The business was owned by the Montalbán family. Most of that time in 2023 was bought by private equity. I came in 2024 at the beginning, hired by the private equity group to try to scale the business to a national footprint. So we do a lot of work in the underground space. We move water, we move electricity. We work underwater as well with offshore winds, and then also with the shoreline resiliency, trying to keep the erosion from the shorelines, protecting the shorelines. A lot of interesting stuff.
There's nothing more timely than what you just mentioned in terms of, no, I mean, we're acutely aware that places that never used to have to deal with these things are, the storms are stronger and they're making their way further up the coast and further inland. So carrying both electricity and water, which need to be mutually exclusive, is very important and an industry that's in need of trust. Before we get into Roman Stone, tell me about your background and what brought you to Roman Stone.
Sure. My background is all in the precast manufacturing space. So I've been doing it for 30 plus years now. I started when I was 17, working in my parents' factory. They actually own a precast factory in New Mexico. Worked there for 20 years. Decided wanted to move on and do something else with my life. So I got hired by a big manufacturer named Oldcastle. Worked for them across the country for about 12 years. Finally, I started in Phoenix, worked my way basically up to Maryland, a bunch of different jobs. And my last job with them was running their Northeast division. So being in the Northeast, I guess the headhunters for the private equity firm saw what I was doing in Oldcastle, thought I would be a good fit down here. So I ended up down here. This is moving from a corporate environment, a big corporate environment, to more of a standalone business has been a little bit of a transition, but one I'm accustomed to from my work in my family's business. So it's been exciting working with the private equity groups and then also trying to build the business at the same time.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like they got the right guy for the job. Tell me what Roman Stone is doing these days. What verticals do you service? Are we talking municipalities? Who are you serving at Roman Stone?
Yeah, so pretty much all of the above. Municipalities, we'll do a lot of work with individual municipalities, giving them the products that they want specifically branded to them for their infrastructure projects inside their towns. We also work with the state DOTs on the highways. We do a lot of work for the New York State DOT. And then we go into private companies like National Grid or a Con Edison. The big power companies, the big utility companies, because they need to move their power. So we provide the infrastructure to them for their underground networks. We've actually had a sole source contract with Con Ed for 65 years. So it's a really good piece of our business as well. And then recently we started venturing into the offshore wind space, which was really good in 2023 and 2024, but kind of has retracted in 2025 with the political climate, which is fine. We had prepared for that. And in 2025, knowing that the offshore wind was going to slow, not really knowing what was going to happen there, we didn't budget anything for it in 2025. We actually kind of pivoted and went into a national scaling model. So actually in about 2 weeks, we'll be launching our national products, which again are infrastructures, but more based on um, the data center markets. So looking at what infrastructure it takes to build out a data center site, what can we take and model into a precast product that we can just deliver to the site and they can install, shrinking their construction timelines and making it pretty attractive to them. So we've launched those products, are launching as we speak. The prototypes have been done. We're working with a major national company now. I can't name here, but anyone would know it if I said it, to help them build out their sites with precast. So that's one. Two, we knowing that precast concrete does not travel well. It's very heavy. We've also launched a mobile manufacturing model. So when we go to a data center site, we will actually set up on site and produce everything at that site that they need for that site to help cut down on their transportation costs, was the main driver of that. But two is to cut down on the carbon footprint of us and of them as well. And then the third thing kind of dovetails into the carbon. We developed technology in the last 2 years that will basically make concrete carbon negative. So as we launch these products into those spaces, that they're really interested in keeping their carbon footprint down, keeping the trucks off the road. So with those three main verticals, I guess you would say, the carbon neutral concrete, the getting the trucks off the road and putting our sites on the build sites, and then the products themselves using the green concrete, have really kind of launched us into a green avenue of business as well, which seems to be very attractive to especially the tech spaces.
That's excellent. I mean, I guess I was unaware that anybody in your space was thinking that way. So thank you for that approach. When you talk about abating or preventing coastal erosion, at that point, are you working with states or the federal government at that point?
It's a little bit of both. Usually, so we're doing some projects now in New York City. One in Battery Park. When Hurricane Sandy came through years ago, basically wiped out that park and flooded that area there. So they came in and raised it 12 feet. So they've raised the park 12 feet, and along the coastline that created a cliff, if you will, a 12, 15-foot cliff. And our products are what's protecting that cliff from erosion. So basically the tides will come in, hit our products, dump into our product, and then filter back out into the water. So it's a little bit of everything. Most of those products are done by a municipal, a town, a municipality, or some of them are federal lands.
No question, there's a need for that sort of tech. I lived in Manhattan for many years and then moved west. And not long after we moved, there was that amazing nor'easter, and the entire East Village was under 5 feet of water, which is hard for me to fathom, having lived there for so long. But obviously there's some need for what you do along the East River shoreline as well.
Yeah.
Tell me about the most common problems you're solving for your clients. I mean, we've talked in some pretty broad strokes about cutting down on emissions and what the time it takes to build a center and things like that. A little more granular about the problems you're solving for clients.
Yeah. So usually we will do a lot of custom structures. So you may be having 3 or 4 different lines coming in, and the engineers need some help with how they're going to deal with that. How can I, let's talk about the water space. How can I handle 10 million gallons of water dumping into this site? What do I do with it? So we will build a structure or a containment structure for them to help them be able to handle the stuff that they need to. Or if they want to move it, we'll build structures that, with our structures, we can filter it, we can contain it, we can move it, we can send it back into the ground. So in a lot of the spaces, we're solving problems that lot of environmental problems. Like nobody wants stormwater dumping into the streets anymore. We've got to contain it. We've got to put it back into the ground in a better state than we found it. Right. So we have a lot of filtration devices that we use inside of our products to help do that. But I would say overall, our biggest value to the customer with precast is being able to shrink their timelines down, not having to pour that stuff in place, wait for it for 24 to 36 hours before they can go to the next step. You can do your excavation. We can come in, dump our precast down. They can backfill it and move on to the next step immediately. So as long as the construction schedules are held to and our products are there on time, we can accelerate any kind of, usually most construction projects, we can accelerate it by several weeks by just using a precast concrete instead of a cast in place option. The second thing is you don't need all the labor on site. We're manufacturing in a controlled environment. So we have very high QC standards. We can control the temperatures at which they're curing. We can cure them faster. We can cure them slower. So it helps to deliver a more quality product. And they don't need 50 people on site to build it. All they need is 3 or 4 to unload it when we get it there. So we're solving a labor problem as well.
You guys must live in a frustrating space because you're heroes, but nobody thinks about what you do until there's a problem. And when there's a problem, it's already too late, and it's not necessarily your fault, but infrastructure is something nobody thinks about on a daily basis till their storm drain is full of leaves and the neighborhood floods or things like that.
Yeah.
And you guys are busy cutting those problems off at the pass.
Yeah, we are under the gun most times. And I'll tell you this, Andrew, next time you're walking in the city and you're walking on a sidewalk and you walk over one of those grates, the gratings, know that's our product sitting underneath that grating.
Well, thank you. I thank you in advance for not having to wade through waist deep water on a bad day. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What differentiates you guys from your competitors? What makes you stand out in the crowd?
I think there's a couple things. Most people haven't heard of Roman Stone. I would assume this would be the first time they're hearing about it. But one thing that we're very proud of, we hold the highest standard of quality according to New York DOT. In the state of New York, we are number 1 on their quality list. So we take that. We really like that. We hold a lot of pride around that. The other thing that we're very customer centric. As you stated, our customers usually call us with a problem. And we pride ourselves in being able to turn those problems into solutions within, a 28 to 48 hour time frame. Giving them options to help them solve their problems. And then once they're agreed to those options, being able to make it happen very quickly. One of our main focuses is to stay customer centric, give the customer what they're needing, what they're asking for, and never have them waiting on us. Now, I'll be truthful, it doesn't always work out, but that's our goal on a daily basis, is to help our customers solve their issues and to have us be the people that they call when they have issues. When our customers have issues, we want Roman Stone to be the first thing that comes to their mind. And we work on that on a daily basis.
Hey, it's not an accident when a company is still thriving almost 125 years in.
Sure.
Here's a tech geeky question. Does the quality of your concrete come down more to the processes? Is it your secret sauce in terms of the aggregates you use? I mean, you don't have to give it all away here today, but just a little secret sauce.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of all that, but I'm a big believer in process. We find a process that works. We try to model it. We try to teach it to our people, and then we try to perfect it as we're moving along. But anytime the process breaks in a precast facility, you can walk out and see it immediately. You can see it by where maybe it's 10 a.m. in the morning, and you can see it by where someone's standing. They're standing, you're either behind or you're ahead of the game, or you're right on track. So the process is very, very big in our industry and what we do. Even as something as simple as mixing concrete, if you add an ingredient out of process, your whole batch is gone. So there's a lot of process involved in it. A lot of science as well, but once the science the science takes you to where you need to be, and then you have to perfect that process.
Yeah, as a layman, the word concrete, I guess the average person is not aware of the evolution of the science of concrete. Has it changed that much in the 125 years?
Yeah, it's really evolved over the years, with the addition of what we would call an admixture. So different chemicals that can make that can slow the reaction in the concrete and make it not dry for 3 days. Or you can use an opposite chemical and make it dry in 2 hours. Or you can use a standard chemical and it dries in your typical 8 hours. So there's a lot of things from coloring to not even having to use a lot of water to be able to throw an admixture in and make it super flowable in 10 seconds. And then to throw another, when you got it where you want it, throw another chemical in there that will seize it up and make it stay where it needs to be. When I started making precast back in the early years, we just mixed up some stuff and poured it in the mold, and then we waited for 10 hours for it to dry. These days, we can turn a mold over every 2 hours if that's what we want to do. And we can have a mixture hitting 3,000 psi in a couple hours to get it out of the mold and do it again. Last year, we were under the gun in December, and we were turning our molds over in the 20-degree weather 3 times a day just to make sure we could hit our customers' timelines. So there's been a lot of evolution in the way that you can handle and produce concrete.
Amazing. And I'm assuming that when you go to pour and mix on site, climate has a huge impact on the way things work in terms of humidity, heat, all those sorts of things as well. So you got to adjust accordingly.
Absolutely. We on site, we have, for the summer, we'll have chillers to keep the water cool so the concrete doesn't dry too fast. In the winter, we'll have heaters and boilers to keep it warm. So yeah, it's a lot of different factors. The moisture of your materials, your rock, your sand, your gravels that are going into your mixes, that all has to be measured and it has to be dosed perfectly.
Again, the average person never thinks about these things until there's a problem that they're aware of, right?
Yeah.
Switch gears for a second. I mean, you have the luxury of an incredible reputation behind you, right? Your company's looking at 125th anniversary coming up, things like that. But you still got to tell your story to drive awareness. How's Roman Stone telling its story? What role is content playing in the growth of your business at this point?
Yeah, historically not a huge one. So we kicked off mid last year. So I was about 6 months into my job and seat, and we realized everything was so dated. So we relaunched the brand last year. We redesigned the logo. We put up a new website, and we're constantly looking at what more content we can put out there. It's been a challenge because that's being a little bit older and in the concrete industry is not really my forte. But I've learned a lot working with different marketing consultants on how we can push our brand and make our logos and our brand names synonymous with quality or whatever we want it to be synonymous with. So we're continually evolving. We're getting ready to kick off actually next week another evolution of our website with adding our national products that I spoke about earlier onto our website and getting our digital assets created so our people in the field can be have those at their disposal when they're trying to bring on new customers.
Excellent. All right. Look down the road a year from now. What are some things you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally?
Professionally, I think it's all about the launch of our national products. I would like to be celebrating a very professional and a very successful launch. And I think we're well on our way to that. But, there's also a lot involved in that when you look at the economy and macro and microeconomics and how this stuff is going to continue to play out. We think we know, but you don't ever really know. Did we have a solid plan? Did we execute it right? And what was the final result? I think I would look to be celebrating that all as good, but we'll see. Personally, I don't really know personally. I think about the same. It's my personal life goes as my work life goes. If my work life's going well, my personal life's pretty going well. But I think maybe what would we celebrate? I don't know. That's a hard one. Maybe another birthday.
That all elusive work-life balance sounds kind of interesting at the moment. There you go. Please tell us, what's your URL? Where can people find Roman Stone, and what social media outlets are you using these days as well?
Sure. We're at romanstoneco.com is our website. And right now we're only on LinkedIn and Facebook, and we're working on getting those expanded in the near future here.
Excellent. Daniel Murray, thank you for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. All the best to you and yours, and continued success on at Roman Stone.
Thank you, Andrew. To you as well.
My pleasure. Be well.